I don't know how many of you are on Twitter. I'm not a massive Twitter user, but I have an account, and there's one or two things I follow. One of them is a Twitter account called Very British Problems. And it's all about, the sort of idiosyncrasies of British life. And I saw a meme on there the other day, which was messages that you receive, a text message or an instant message, that are almost designed to give you a panic attack. Call me. Call me when you get a moment. I mean, I think that's almost worse, because it's are they trying to just reassure me there's nothing major? And it is. We found your keys. I didn't know I'd lost them. And in a sense, it's the same. We get the same sort of thing with greetings. Usually just sort of, hi, you're all right. But hi, you look great. And it's like almost, it's a compliment. I mean, I don't deal well with compliments anyway, but those sort of things you think, well, I feel really tired. I mean, I think, what's the deal? Mary in the Bible had the greeting from the angel Gabriel, and she had that reaction. The angel Gabriel came to Mary and said, "Greetings, O favoured one, the Lord is with you." Can you imagine what you think if that? And Mary's response was she was greatly troubled at the saying and tried to discern what sort of greeting this might be. And you can well imagine that you might be troubled by that situation. We don't know if the angel Gabriel was clearly an angel or was just just appeared as a person. But either way, it was, that sort of greeting is almost designed to put you into a panic. What's going on? What do they want? What's going on here? We don't know a lot about Mary. From the only things we can glean is from those first few chapters in the Gospels as to what she was like. But all the way through, she seems to be a very thoughtful and sort of considerate person. We read in Luke 2:19, after the events of Jesus' birth, after the shepherds are visited, the angel choir, everyone is rejoicing. We read that she treasured these things in her heart and pondered them. So she's not someone who wildly reacts to a situation. She's not someone who would go into a panic because of an innocuous text message. I want to look just very briefly at some of her reactions through those first chapters. We've already thought about the angel, and she wonders what is this all about, and her response when the angel Gabriel goes on to explain is a question. And we can contrast that with Zechariah's question. Zechariah is almost, don't be ridiculous. How can that be possible? I can't believe it. Whereas Mary's is, well, I'm a virgin. I can see what you're saying, but I don't understand how it's all going to work. So it was a response was a question, and out of that came trust. It wasn't a question that was just, I don't believe it, but how will that work? And after the reassurance, she says, may it be as you have said. So she understands the consequences, maybe. But she trusts what's going to happen. She was a young virgin. She was pledged to be married, and she became pregnant. Even in today's society, that can bring shame upon a family. But certainly for her, that would have been the case. She would have been shunned by friends and expected to be spurned by Joseph, and that was his plan. But she responded to the angel with trust. And the last reaction that I want to look at is really what I'm thinking about this morning, is that she rejoiced. Those reactions that we've seen led her to go and visit Elizabeth. She knew that Elizabeth was going through a very similar situation. It was also a chance to get away from all those difficulties that she was going to face, and see someone who understood her situation. And the outcome of that, of her trust and pondering, and the affirmation from Elizabeth with John the Baptist in her womb, was an outpouring of praise. We get the Magnificat in Luke My soul magnifies the Lord, and my spirit rejoices in God my Saviour. As we look through that song of praise of Mary, we see that it starts off with a very personal testimony. She looks at herself, what God has done for her. She sees her humble status, but God's blessing to her. She's not focused on the difficulties that she's going to face, but on what God has done and is doing through her life. She moves on to God's character, looking at God's mercy and his care for everyone, the poor and the hungry. And then finally looking at God's blessing for all his people, and that blessing that is going to be enacted through what he's doing in her life, and in remembering his promises to his people that he would send a saviour. Life throws all sorts of situations at us, and it's hard sometimes to see God's hand in that. It's good for us to think about these things and ponder them, to see what God is teaching us and where he's leading us, to ask for his help and his guidance, and trust in his promises. But ultimately, these things and what we do when we ponder and think and trust in him, these should lead us to praise like Mary did, so we can sing with Mary, my soul magnifies the Lord. And we are going to sing that song that we had before, Good News of Great Joy, which the chorus is based on the Magnificat.